Welcome back. Welcome aboard the channel. I'm Evan Singer, one of your co-hosts. I've got Matt Cermak with me.
What's up, Bev? Always good to be back.
Welcome to the channel, guys. We help frustrated golfers enjoy the ride again, because if you can learn to smile through bad golf, you can smile through anything. We unpack the mental game with anyone from a PGA Tour pro to a best-selling author, sports psychologist, and a golfer like you and me. And today is about a golfer like you and me. Cerm and I are unpacking a huge breakthrough. What feels like a huge breakthrough. I might never be the same golfer after this. We'll see. Wow. I don't want to jinx myself. I'm knocking on wood. But if you guys play golf and you have rode the struggle bus and you want to get better, this episode is for you. Trust me, we're gonna go through it in great detail. If you guys like this episode, do us a solid, hop aboard the channel, subscribe to the channel, and no matter where their ball goes, Cerm, what do they got to do?
Just enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride, guys. So Cerm and I love bringing the passengers in on our text chains, because we had a fiery, intense, fired up text thread this past week, because it's kind of been a full circle moment for me. And I think what I've gone through, I think my breakthrough moments can help a lot of golfers. I'm starting to really feel like the light bulbs are coming on. I'm starting to have a better understanding of what some people have said on this show through direct experience. And I'm excited to dig into this. Should we just dive in?
I think we should dive in. I mean, I'm just as excited as you are, because, we discuss our games, almost every day, right? We live through each other's experiences from being across the country. But, I know what courses you're playing, what you're shooting, what you're working on, and vice versa. And I'm just so pumped. And we should dive in, Ev. I mean, the reason why we're having this episode, I think, and we're going to unpeel this, but like, you shot 39 this past week at a real good golf course, 9 holes, but this was a 39 that just felt really different, Ev. And you were texting me as you were playing. I think you birdied the first hole and
tripled the second.
Classic. Don't ever birdie the first hole. Try to go.
Don't ever go
bogey, get the par after.
Yeah, I guess start with bogey.
But it's just an awesome feeling for you to go out and really put a good round together. Next step's going to be 18 holes. But Ev, we're going to talk about what felt different about this round of golf, and you're also going to get into the previous 2 rounds, or you had a previous round at Rustic Canyon, and then maybe it was a couple rounds at Pacific Dunes. The guy just hangs out at Bandon, just kind of shoots in, shoots out, just gets midweek rounds up there. But this is great, Ev. I mean, so maybe I think our listeners know about your struggles, right? They've been well documented this last year or so. But talk about maybe these last couple of weeks, and some of the things that transpired for you, and maybe how we got to this place of 39 and of feeling good and confident.
And the crazy thing is, like, I don't want to sound like we joked off air. Like, I don't want to make the same mistake of saying I found it. I figured it out. I fixed it. I'm sure there will be more struggles, but I actually think for the first time in over a year, I'm feeling really confident that I have the path to become a 5, a 4, a 3. Like, it's actually kind of crazy that I stayed at a single digit handicap through all of this. So the fact that I went up to a 9 from a 6 after all of this, it's pretty inspiring and hopeful to me that, like, a 5 is not that far away. I don't think people realize how badly I was hitting the ball, and how many mistakes I was making, right? But as we reflect on my habits and my patterns, that's also not surprising, right? And so why don't I start with my round at Rustic Canyon? This is the round right before I went to Bandon. I went to a link style course that I couldn't get on for years in LA. It's probably my favorite course in LA, public, and it's a phenomenal course, and it's link style. So I was like, all right, let's go there. Let's continue, my Scottish journey, but in LA. Before I go to Bandon, let's let's get a little Bandon prep in. And, I think we all make a common mistake. I think we can beat the game. I think we know you can't have more than one thought out there. But I think, at least I did, I thought I could beat that system. I'm like, yeah, but it's always the yeah, but.
Right.
Yeah, but I think I can think about a takeaway, a transition, a grip change, and a feeling in the downswing. I think I can do it all. Right. And when I told you that, you were like, you did what? Four things?
Well, there was actually at least a fifth. You were trying multiple pitches and chips.
That's right. Yeah.
You
Hannah,
saw some clips on
Instagram.
Instagram, and you were playing for score and trying to hit these pitches and chips
Yeah,
that
I
you've
was
never
trying
tried
to
before.
bring the heel up, be really close to the ball, and try this shot that I'd never tried before. But
Yeah.
then I get frustrated when I hit it off the green. And it's like, well, what do you expect? You're trying something new. You have no idea how it comes out. You have no touch with it, no experience with it. So I think what was really eye-opening about Rustic Canyon, I was starting to hit it better. I was making some good progress post Scotland. I learned a ton about myself in Scotland. But not only did I bring too many things to that round, I still had no clarity, right? We talked about this in a previous episode. I posted about this on Instagram. Like, I had no clarity on the shot I was going to hit, the feel I was going with, the direction I'm going, the distance it's going to go. And I'm thinking about four things in my swing. So it was just, I didn't realize how down I seemed. You pointed it out. You're like,
Yeah.
you seem like really down. Should we talk? And it was just because I was starting to hit the driver better. And for someone that's historically struggled with the driver, when you start getting that in play, you feel like, all right, let's go. Right.
Sure.
And then you start making double from the fairway, 130 out. And you're like,
the worst.
What's going on? And then you do that a few times in a row. And you're like, what am I doing? And the round can get away from you real quick. And I was really proud of myself because historically you have a round like that before a trip like Bandon. And it's really easy to have some anxiety going in. You're trying to find something to maybe go with. But you put me at ease. You're like, there's nothing to reinvent. You had no chance. Let's simplify some stuff going into Bandon. And I played 9 holes at Sheep Ranch in the rain by myself, last person off. And it was actually reminded me of how peaceful around in the rain can be. Like, as long as you're not cold,
especially in a setting like that.
Yeah, it can be. And alone, it was very special. And then I played, I'm going to get right into what I learned at Pacific Dunes. I learned at Pacific Dunes. Do you think I covered enough on Rustic, by the way? Just a horrific round, worst round I played all year.
Yeah, I think the one thing I want to hit home for our listeners or passengers of is when I said to you, you don't need to go reinvent anything at Pacific Dunes, you had no chance. What it meant was like you went in trying 5 different things from a mechanical perspective and also kept score, right? Or you were
Right.
playing for score. And so the lesson is, guys, if you're going to go work on your golf swing from a mechanical perspective on the golf course, you're not keeping score. You're just not, right? You're spending $150 to go play, but you can't do both. So that's why
That's a great reminder for everybody.
Right. So
pick one.
Right. Cause we said, you have one, you can take one thought. That's our rule, one mechanical thought to the course.
Yeah.
So I was down for you, but at the same time, I was like, well, this was just the worst mindset you've ever done. You've probably ever done, and it can be fixed tomorrow. So just want to hit that home.
That's great. And there's also a great reminder of not to judge yourself. Like, I host a mental game show with you, and that's a mistake I made. Everybody is going to forget. Everybody is going to need a reminder. That is the practice.
Yep.
Is you forget, you come back. You forget, you come back. You make a mistake, you come back. You make a mistake, you learn, you do something better, right? So that was a mistake I made. I was really proud of myself. I didn't carry the anxiety. There's nothing to prove.
Yep.
I'm going to Bandon for work. I work with the Dream Golf team, and I didn't even care about playing. I was like, if you guys can squeeze me in, obviously it's sacrilegious. It's like coming to Disneyland and not going on the rides,
Yeah, what are you
like, or
doing?
not even going into the park. Like, so yeah, if you guys can get me on,
Big
great.
Disney guy over there.
Yeah.
Guy loves you. Love it. You love the Harry
I
Potter
don't
stuff.
know. Well, that's Universal, Cerm. Let's not get it mixed up.
Anyways,
Okay. So anyways, they get me on sheep, and I got to walk Shorties, the new par three, which is growing in, looks amazing. And
that
Pacific Dunes. Okay. So Pacific Dunes, I said something to myself before the round. I was early. I showed up
who are you playing with?
three randoms.
Yeah, cool.
Um, I showed up. I thought my round was at 7:20. It was actually at 7:40. So I went upstairs to get breakfast. And I'm sitting at the table, just myself, having some eggs and a smoothie. And
God. We got to the bathroom before you.
oh, I did. Don't worry.
Okay.
And
Interesting play, but okay.
and I said to myself, you know, what if instead of hoping I figure something out, hoping I find something, hoping I don't embarrass myself,
Hmm.
hoping I don't block one right, why don't I just act as if I can play? Something we talked about on the show previously, but I'm just going to act as if I can hit a golf shot. And I'm not going to try and do too much. I'm going to focus on rhythm, and I'm going to ride that tempo train, and I'm going to swing easy, and I'm just going to act as if I know I've been on a golf course many times, and we're just going to simplify it one thing and have a great time. I'm going to enjoy this. This is the number 2 ranked course in the country of public courses. Like, let's just enjoy it. I don't care what I shoot, where it goes. And this is the beauty of this. Okay. I step onto the first tee, and it's 3 guys, 2 brothers and their friend that they've worked with for years. And they're laughing. They're having a great time. They've had these caddies for 3 days prior. So I'm just coming in. I'm the new guy. Right.
Yep.
And they're up at the golds. There's black, green, golds.
Okay.
And then there's reds. Right. And they go, oh, we're not any good. You know, we're just dicking around, but we're hitting from up here. You can go and play back there if you'd like. And I go, fuck it. Let's just all play together. Like, I'm like, this is a great opportunity to just, and by the way, links golf, as we talked about with wind, it's not like that makes that huge of a difference. So I'm
Anything,
like,
anything goes. Let's be with the
and I'm not
group.
going to go by myself.
And let's be honest, playing a little shorter tees.
Yeah,
All
let's
right, give me a
go.
little
Like, I was
confidence,
actually a little excited about it. Like,
Yeah.
let's embrace it. So first hole, I acted as if I can play. I know how to hit a golf shot. Let's just simplify things. Focus on rhythm. I hit a perfect hybrid down the middle, short par 4. I stick a wedge
Love that.
and I birdie the first.
Love
Okay.
that.
The second hole,
The guy's been just making birdies on the first hole.
yeah. What a feeling.
It's nice.
And second hole, I don't remember exactly every score and shot, but I do remember being 1 under through 3. And because I think I birdied and bogeyed. So I think I went birdie, bogey, birdie. And
Nice start.
this is the aha moment that I think I was waiting for in Scotland. Remember, I told you I really wanted to come back, figuring something out, figuring out my game, how to play. I saw this is like old stuff back before I got super into my swing and was going through all this terrible ball striking. I remember that those moments that you really focus and you take things slow, you start to have a really good stretch. You start to get into a rhythm. Then you get a little excited. You get away from that. You get away from the thing that got you there. You start to try and make things happen. You start to think about score. You tighten up. It gets away from you. Then you come back. That's exactly what happened in Pacific Dunes. I was starting to think, oh, maybe, I'm playing the golds. I'm hitting it pretty good. Like, maybe what if I break 80 at Pacific Dunes?
Oh, you're already thinking score on the fourth hole.
Yeah. So you start to get excited. Normal.
This is normal. This is how it works,
Normal.
guys. We all know it.
It's impossible for you not to think it. The point of this show is to give you tools when you do think it, right? You can't control thoughts. You just control how you respond to them.
So, Ev, I mean, first 4 or 5 holes, this is probably the most comfortable you have felt to start a golf round in a very long time.
Yeah. It's not easy either. In the wind,
right.
Mist, it's raining off and on, and it's one of the best courses in the country, but it's not easy.
No, it's not easy. What's nice is you've had a little Scotland golf recently.
Yeah, that was nice,
probably comforting, calming, right?
Yeah, it didn't
I've been wearing rain gear all year.
Yeah. It actually made me feel like a local, because I was like, I don't really care if it rains. I know what it's like, so no problem. And I expect wind.
Yeah. So like, it sounds like, I mean, to start the golf round, you're really in a good place. You were calm, methodical, delivered all the buzzwords you want to use. Your routine was good. You're target focused. Like, to me, because going into the round, I think you talked about like, I'm just going to be smooth tempo. And it's like, yeah, we want all that stuff. I've always felt you get smooth, you get good tempo when you have, from a physical swing perspective, when you have the smooth rhythm in your routine, right? When you're breathing, when you're thinking about your shot, nobody else, right? When you get in that bubble, it brings out the good tempo. When you're not in your bubble, when you're not thinking about your target, when you're thinking about mechanics, you get fast, twitchy, tension-filled swings. So just a quick takeaway.
And quick reminder, you said this is the best start you've had in maybe over a year. Think about what I said to myself before the round. Like, this is the power of this stuff. I'm not saying trying to convince yourself that you can play, or that act as if you can play suddenly improves your handicap by 5 shots. But when you've been playing and rooting in anxiety, fear, embarrassment, and you can shift that energy to, no, wait a second, I can hit a golf ball. It's probably going to go all over the place, but I believe that I can.
Yeah.
That was something I haven't told myself in a long time. And that is the power of that. Even if that is to settle me down a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? If that's to reduce even a tiny bit of tension, that's worth it.
Yeah. You may have found that's a great phrase. I can hit a golf ball. Hey, I can play.
Mm-hmm.
That's something you're going to
probably. And by the way, I didn't say this, sir.
You're going to lean on, because it's different for everybody, but it's ultimately the same thing.
I was so inspired by the group I was with. It felt like I was meant to be with them, because the first hole, guess what? 3 shots were hit in front of me: a top into the gorse, a snap hook into the left gorse, and a block 60 yards right of the 3 guys in front of me. And they all went about 50 yards. Okay. And then I go up and I stripe my hybrid down the middle and I make birdie. You know how easy it would have been seeing that block 60 yards right and start to think about my own block, right? But I didn't.
Let me say this. What if those 3 guys would have piped it down the middle, 250, 260, 270?
Yeah, could have been different.
It shouldn't be. Right. Would have created.
But I think
we think the stage was a little set when they said we're playing the up tees, you know, but let's say they didn't.
But you know what it reminded me of? These guys are at Pacific Dunes. They spent the money. They're together. They are not that good at golf at all.
Like most people, just aspiring golfers looking to.
I think what it did is it gave me a little bit of grace. It reminded me that, hey, this game's hard. Everybody struggles.
Yeah.
And there's people a lot worse than me that are having a lot better time.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Like,
yeah,
these guys who just each of them lost the ball on the first hole are having a fun time.
Yeah.
They clearly have some better sense of purpose,
fun
than you in these current times. Right. I love that, Ev. That's a great takeaway. And you're like, I should be having fun like these guys, no matter what happens.
Right. So that was a really great reminder. And by the way, I'll also give myself a little grace to say it's easier to enjoy it if that's where you've always been. But
Yeah.
when you've tasted the other side of it and you've been as low as a 5, and then you go and up to a 9, but it doesn't even matter the handicap. Like it's the type of golf, right? It's the shots, it's
When you
the misses.
when you're working hard, maybe harder than ever, and you're not seeing results and you're going backwards, it's very difficult.
It's difficult. And, we hear about it every day on the tour, but I had never gone through it to this extent. And I think this group gave me a little bit of a sigh and a moment of gratitude of like, this is awesome. Like, this is what the game's about. And they all had amazing shots at some point throughout the day. A couple of them started to really put it together towards the back. But it was a really great reminder. Like, it doesn't matter how many balls they lose. We're out here to have a great time and tell stories and get to know each other and try and get a couple good ones. Right now, here's the funny part. Here's the light bulb. As I'm playing, I tell you, I start to switch. I let myself, normal response, as we said, start to get excited. I start to focus less
You
on.
get excited out there.
I do.
Yeah.
A
lot of people do. You're not the only one.
Absolutely.
But you talk about this a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And I started to think about my score. I started to think about maybe I can string some stuff together. And then I started to make bogey, a double, bogey, bogey, bogey. And you start to press. I just need to like get in the fairway again. And I go, no. Oh, I finally had a moment of awareness. And I said, oh, look at this. Look what I've done. This is a classic example of getting away from what got you there. This is what the passengers got to do.
Yep.
Just like me. And so I got back to my rhythm. And by the way, that's not just when I mean tempo. I was looking at videos through Scotland, and my worst shots, I didn't complete the swing. They're very like stabby.
Yep.
I'm not really getting into my left side. I'm not finishing my turn on either side. And
yeah,
so
but if you don't make a turn going back in the right side, it's going to be hard to get to your left side,
Right.
And then I
wasn't really finishing my swing. Right.
Just not confident, not athletic.
Right.
Very guidey.
Right. So then I was like, okay, I got to get back to riding that tempo train, finishing my move, and just acting as if I can. And then I birdied another.
Yeah.
I ended up having 4 birdies, I think.
And then what'd you shoot this round?
I think I shot an 84.
Okay.
In the rain and in the wind.
It was a good round.
Shorter, but
yeah.
In the rain, in the wind, 84. Like
with a bad stretch of holes. There was one bad stretch probably for 5 or 6 holes. But 4
I was
birdies.
pretty happy with that. Yeah. Now the thing that really hit home with me, I texted you immediately. I was like, wow, look at the difference. A lot of people say, like Bernard Langer came out with that quote that like,
he's great.
The mental game isn't as important as everybody makes it out to be. You have to learn how to hit the ball, which yes, Rotella told us about the different stages, right? Unconsciously incompetent, right. Consciously competent, unconsciously competent, I think is the goal. But obviously you need the skills, but this is a great reminder. My mental game helped 4 birdies happen and also 4 doubles on both sides of it. And I think for the first time in a while, I wasn't playing golf swing. I stuck to something simple, and I wasn't in fix mode where it's so easy throughout the round to go so fast, panic mode, fix mode, that the whole round gets away from you. I finally took a moment to take a step back, appreciate my surroundings. I noticed what happens on the good ones. I noticed what I got away from for the bad ones. And I saw it all unfolding. And I was like, oh man, this is why we started the show. This is why I love this stuff, because you notice it and you get back to it. And I was like, this is what I got to get back to. This is everything, you know?
No, it's great. I think what's kind of funny, if we can laugh about it a little bit,
It's
is
nothing new.
you didn't really you in this round, you didn't let the doubles define you,
Right.
which is what all you've been doing, right? The bad
Yeah.
holes, the one bad swing, right? The great drive, the terrible second shot. But you actually you let the good holes define you early, which is what, but good to be back in that feeling again, though, right? Like you make that
Yeah.
birdie, you make that second birdie. Oh my God, this is who I am today. I'm 78 today, right? And that got you in trouble, actually, which is what happens in golf.
Yeah.
But we like this problem better than the other problem. So I think that's really interesting and really, I think it's a big moment for you, Ev. You know, um, it's pretty cool, right? That you let the bad holes just, you kind of brushed them off. It was
Yeah.
just dealing with that success again. What do we do with that? But
Totally.
I think that's really cool.
So then let's talk about coming home. And this is where I think the mental stuff I just described combined with the foundational technique and root causes, not band-aids, but root causes that are not positional but foundational, could potentially be a game changer. So I get home. I think it was a couple days later. Tara was in Austin for work. I don't normally go to the range super late at night because we have dinner together. But since she was out of town, I was like, let's just go hit balls under the lights. It's right across the street.
These are fun
I'm
things to
itching,
do.
right? I'm itching to build on what I experienced at Pacific Dunes. And I remember this guy at the range before I left. He was helping me with he was that guy, tweeted about it. He like was
Yeah.
drilling weights into the handle. Apparently he was a PJ professional. But he came up to me and he goes, how do you like your driver? I was like, I like it, but it's a little spinny and I tend to miss it right. And he's like, well, yeah, your left hand is too, is it weak? I think it was
too weak. You were too under.
too
Right?
under, too
Yeah.
weak, too cupped, I guess, or not strong enough, let's just say. And so I strengthened my grip at the range that day. He drilled something in the grip. I texted you immediately after. I hadn't hit penetrating draws or straight drives like that in a very long time. And I was like, huh. That's when you start to know you're getting back on track, is instead of losing all this yardage and this weak high rights, I was like, huh, that feels really freaking good. Problem is, I took that to Rustic Canyon with 3 other things, right? Then I go to the range once I get back from Bandon. Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit. And I'd say, that guy was onto something, but I didn't quite understand what it meant in my left hand as a righty golfer to get the club more in my fingertips. It just doesn't make sense to me. I always had it in my palm, but I didn't know I had it in my palm. That's just what normal was. And so I was at the range and I'm kind of playing around. And I think this is the power of experimentation if you know the direction you're supposed to go in. But you have to have it experiment in the way that's unique to you, that feels right to you, right? So I'm standing there and I'm like, I'm going to stand up on camera. If you guys go to our YouTube channel at the Par Train, you'll be able to see this.
Some live footage here, folks.
But I was like, what if I kind of pronate my left arm in like this? I'm turning my left arm in, which naturally kind of turns my hand like this, right? So my hand's normally like this. If I turn my arm in, my hand naturally kind of strengthens and I go, whoa. When I do that, the club kind of gets more in my fingers naturally. And it kind of locked my arm. I've never thought about keeping my left arm straight, but it kind of hyperextended. I know
that's the old famous tip in golf.
I know, right? I never worried about that because it's like, whatever. Not everybody has a straight left arm. I'm not going to worry about it. But it naturally kind of hyperextended my left arm. I felt like my right arm, the only way to get my right arm in was underneath, which suddenly got me into this like perfect posture, a natural tilt. I felt suddenly really connected. Connection has always been an issue for me. That's why the takeaway has never been consistent. And then I started hitting the most solid, pure shots maybe that I've ever hit.
Yeah.
And I texted you immediately. I go, I don't want to. This is just a classic mistake. You find something at the range, you think you found something, you think it's going to fix everything, and then you go to the course and it's a disaster, right? The range is different than the course. We've talked about it a million times. So I wasn't trying to get overly excited, but inherently this felt different because it's not a takeaway feel. It's not a positional thing. It was a foundational thing that got the face to be square. And I felt like I had face control for the first time ever. John Sherman told us that. I never really understood how
Yeah,
to
I
do
know.
it.
Yeah. Well, and as we know, Ev, the grip is the foundation of the golf swing.
Right. And nobody ever talked to me about the left hand and the grip. The only time I've ever really talked about the grip is we've talked about my right hand, but nothing ever stuck. And I've been told by coaches, don't worry about your grip. Your grip's fine. Right.
Well, yeah, and that's eye opening. The things that we can work on, I've talked about this on the show, but the pros work on, as you know, is the fundamentals. Yeah. What are the fundamentals? The grip, stance, alignment, posture. These are things you work on all the time and you can implement and you can change the quickest. We start talking about takeaway. We start talking about backswing position, transition, impact. All that stuff's important, but those fixes could take years.
Right.
But those areas of the swing get better when you have the right grip, when you have the right stance. So you got the right grip, which then created the right posture and the right tilt.
Right.
But it's
and then
funny,
and then connection.
You just needed a lesson or somebody to look and say, hey man, that left hand is weak. Get that thing over, get some knuckles showing. Right. And it's like, oh my God, I got a grip. Now I've got a posture. Now I've got connection in my swing.
Right. And then the only thing I needed to worry about is rhythm.
Yeah.
And so
this was creates really a better mental idea in your head that rhythm can be achieved.
You can trust it.
Correct. That's what I always try to
yes.
Working back.
Yes. And that's a really great point. They work back and forth, right? If you get the foundational stuff right, it unlocks the mental side, just like the mental side can unlock the physical, because we said this on our last episode with Larry Blatt. Like, the fight and the commitment is really hard to have when you don't believe
in what you're doing.
Yeah. And so we texted, and maybe we even talked about this on a before after a podcast, and you said, so all you have to do when you play on Friday is worry about your new grip. Get your new grip in place, and that's all you have to do. And I remember that feeling really freeing. And by the way, there is a lot of there can be a lot of internal pressure and excitement to see if it translates. I hope it translates. I hope this is the thing, right? I wasn't putting a lot of stock in it. I was watching that. That's a normal belief. You're excited about something you found, you want it to translate. That's normal. But when I went to the course, by the way, this was a 3-hour 9-hole round.
Yeah, we've seen the Twitter chatter. I think we're getting some tweets coming in right now about
UK
golf versus American.
I didn't
golf.
Expect for people to be so passionate about this. I guess it makes
sense.
There's
been a lot of threads recently on Twitter about this in different accounts.
But
anyway,
apparently Lou Stagner says the difference in UK versus US is actually not pace of play. It's distance between tees and greens, apparently, according to a study.
Shorter golf courses.
So I went into this round, no rhythm, super long waiting. And my first tee shot historically is the one that's least committed. You're not warm yet.
Like a lot of people,
I lose it way right.
You're nervous. Can't deal with the
nerves. And I missed the first shot, and it was just in the first cut of rough. It's the first time that I had that feeling, and my
good miss.
Dispersion rate went way down. I went into a playable miss. Then I started to hit some good ones.
You birdied the first hole, didn't you?
I birdied the first hole.
How good? I mean, again, I love it.
Then my yardage came back. I airmailed a couple greens. And I'm like, oh, okay. So my old yardages are coming back. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I can just have lightness at the top and I know it's going to be right there. So I can just swing smooth or hard at it, but with good
Swing,
rhythm,
you
full
can swing,
swing.
swing however you want with
Yeah.
whatever club. Just to
And I'm
understand
like,
how
for the
you
first
understand.
time, maybe ever, I have a pretty good idea that that face is square. And so I just want to say, I didn't even play that good, by the way. I had some really good up and downs towards the end. It even helped my pitching, by the way. My
Sure, because
pitching was even better.
it's all face control. It's all face
Yeah.
contact.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all translates.
And it was just so mind-blowing to me that here I am. Zoom out for a second. Anyone that's listening to this show, any passenger right now that's really, really struggled, whether that's for a single round or a single year, it can be so confusing because you're trying things and nothing's working. But now I know, again, who knows where I'll go from here? But again, I'm pretty hopeful. Now I know I've been trying to stick a square peg through a circle hole. Like, and the craziest thing is, I've gotten lessons from some of the best PJ Tour the PJ coaches on the PJ Tour, and nobody looked at my left hand. It was some random PJ professional on the driving range that day
Yeah.
that said something to me. And even then, I didn't know quite how to do it.
But right. And but in the bad round at Rustic Canyon, you took 5 things into the round.
Right. And it would have been easy for me to say that grip thing is bogus.
Right.
Right. But that wasn't the bogus part. It was trying to do too much. It was not understanding what in the fingertips meant. I didn't have it locked in yet.
Well, yeah,
So,
it takes time, right? Because
right.
again, we're always wanting it to change tomorrow.
Right.
It just doesn't. But you
But
got a clear headspace going into this
but
9
I
hole
at
round.
least got enough feedback that I'm like, oh, the big miss is less. The yardage is back. The good ones are 10x better than my last good ones. Right? The good ones are exceptional. And it just kind of blows my mind that a foundational element like the grip has such an impact that I've been trying to fucking get the club here, get it outside. How do I not get it inside?
You've
Now
had
it's like it doesn't
every
now it
thought.
doesn't matter if it goes inside as long as his face is square. I can work on stuff, I can evolve stuff, but like I feel like I feel like I'm George Costanza where he learns do the opposite and he
Yeah.
said this is the antichrist for me. This is my messiah.
Right.
I feel like I've got um my Bible of like it's my pre-shot routine. I stand there like this, Cerm. I stand up. I just got it kind of
Very
clubs.
Adam Scott.
Yes, exactly. The
Guys, yeah,
clubs to my
YouTube
left.
Adam Scott's pre-shot routine
Yeah,
guys.
YouTube. I
Yeah.
basically am Adam Scott now. Adam Scott, his arms to his left. I'm kind of pronating my left arm, which basically means my bicep is turning towards my pec, right? I'm turning that shoulder in. Then my hand kind of goes out in a way, so that it's in my fingertips. And then I just move my right hand underneath and I walk into the shot really connected. And I don't know.
That's a different feeling.
It's I'm just kind of blown away. I know I'm kind of babbling here, but I can't describe to you how blown away I am
Well,
that I've experienced. You know what? It makes me feel better about my struggles because I've been trying to fix the wrong thing. I've been playing with a wide open face that I used to get away with because I had more confidence. The second you start to become tentative with a wide open face, you're fucked.
yeah, it's not a good thing. Well,
No, because how are you going to close it down if you're swinging tentatively?
Yeah. Well, I'll just give what you're working on some more validation. I mean, I had a lesson on Saturday with our friend
Oh
and
yeah, I didn't hear how that went.
guest of the show, Steve Danino, and my younger brother Patrick's working for Steve. It was great, but Ev, what did we work on as part of the lesson? The grip. He goes, "Let me see your grip." And look, I had pretty good year. I shot 71 a couple weeks ago. He goes, "Your left hand, it looks like it's creeping into the palm."
Hmm.
I go, "Shit." I don't.
Did you think of me?
Well, yeah, I'm thinking of our conversations. you know, he go like I was showing two knuckles, so the neutrality of it was fine, but it was on the edge. So he's like, "Dude, get that back more in the fingers." I'm like, "Oh shit," So like I start
Yeah.
gripping it, and I'm like, "Oh god, yeah, oh my god, feel that more in the pinky." So there you go. Like the grip can just sneak away from you. And if you don't address it, if you're not constantly thinking about the fundamentals, because what you've just described is I fix my grip, it's helped my setup, it's helped my rhythm. We're closer than we typically think because you'll tell everybody on all the passengers, I've not felt close for the last year and a half. But
Oh yeah.
actually, as you think about it, I didn't have to overhaul my backswing, which I've been trying to do, or my takeaway. I had to fix my freaking grip.
Yeah.
So I was just working on it on Saturday. And I was like, oh, yeah, this has gotten a little away from me. But but I'm hitting pretty good shots. So at every level, this is so important, guys. So important. So
Yeah.
just want to say that. I'm working
I
on my
love
grip
that.
too. I'm working on my left hand too.
I love that. Everyone's going to be looking at their left hand after this show. But I'm just blown away because when John Sherman from Practical Golf came on the show and said I'm pretty sure he played in college, right? Was a scratch player.
Yeah.
Now he's a +4. And in college, I think it was only like a 2 or
Yeah, I
even
don't
a
even know if
3.
John played in college. He may have or for a little bit, but
I think he told us he was only a 2 or 3
he didn't. I
in
mean, he didn't get
college.
to a plus handicap until, I think 5, 6 years ago. Yeah.
And I remember wondering, like, I always heard face control, and I'm like, yes, like I know I need that. My face is flipping around all over the place. Like,
Yeah.
I need some, control, but inherently that can get you into trouble because you can't consciously control the face. Because
Yeah,
then
I talked about it. You're only consciously controlling the face, trying to hit a big hook, a big fade, real like extreme golf shots.
right,
Big old. That's what I'm trying to manipulate. Other than that, you do not want to be,
no, you
yeah,
need to
or
trust
trying to
that it's there.
find it. Yeah, yeah, no.
So that's what's so mind-blowing to me about this left hand and just the way that my arm is turned in is it automatically it keeps the face more stable. And now I get it.
Yeah.
Now I understand how, wow, like the shots I was hitting, even the bad ones, I was like, those struck pretty solid. I just got a little out of rhythm.
So
I hooked it a little.
I think as we to round this out and this round a little bit as we kind of conclude all this, you said you hit an 8 iron one, or you were hitting was an 8 iron 170, like your old
Yeah.
yardages were coming back.
Yeah.
Your pitching and chipping was better. It's like that, that first drive of the day, this good miss in the rough felt powerful. It was just domino effect.
Yeah.
And like you said, I made a triple on the second hole, but it was like, it didn't really matter. It's like, I know the shots are in me now. I know they're going to come back. And
Right.
you put in and you put like an easy round of golf together. So what a different feeling, Ev. Like,
Yeah.
like all this, how it all kind of comes together, but like you're truly a whole new golfer out there a couple days ago.
Yeah. The crazy thing is it makes me realize, wow, like I didn't actually lose anything. I just got into a bad habit and then I tried compensation on compensation without ever really fixing the core issue. And the ball's going all over the place, which it should. If it's a wide open face and you're feeling tentative over the ball because your start lines are never matching your expectation, yeah, you're going to feel a little tentative. Like that's pretty normal.
And now you're combining this new, what you're working on with your grip and your fundamentals with this work you're doing with Rick Sessinghouse. Like,
Yeah.
maybe that's a whole other episode, but like you had some really eye-opening moments about routine, attitude, self-talk that was like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give a little tease to it.
Yeah.
I just filmed a playing lesson, which is so funny. After I had a round a week later, this round that we're talking about, I was like, man, imagine if I would have had this in front of Rick, but it's probably better that we didn't
Yeah.
because,
No, because
we're on the first hole. I'll tell this quick story.
Yeah.
And then we'll round it out. He said, what does a good shot look like here? Now, remember, in the past, when we talk about vocalization on the show, we say, what are you trying to do here? Right? But what does a good shot look like here? It's a different question. And I think the better one, because I'm on the first tee. It's one of the most narrow, if not the most narrow first hole I've ever played. And he was excited about this.
right.
Short par 5, but super uphill. So it actually plays decently long. And he goes, what does a good shot look like here? And I used words like, I think, maybe, I hope. And he goes, you think? Maybe. He cut me off after each. I used probably
like,
5 of those words.
Sounds tough to watch. He's like,
Yeah.
stop.
But this was so eye-opening,
Yeah.
right? Where I was so tentative with calling out the instructions and the shot I was trying to hit. So he goes, no, what does a good shot look like here? And I laughed. You'll see this on camera at some point. And I say, oh, okay, I get it. I get what I'm doing. Okay. A good shot here is aimed at that left tree by the green. And it's going to peel back to the right. It's going to peel to the right about 5 yards because there's a left to right sloping fairway, super narrow.
All right, Ev, go do it.
And he goes, okay, go ahead. And I did it on the first tee after driving an hour, no warm up.
And you have not talked like that to yourself. Maybe a little bit started to come back at the Pacific Dunes round.
Yeah.
But other than that,
yeah,
you had not.
You know what's funny? My brain,
a golf shot like that.
My brain has just been waiting for that, right? Yeah. My brain, my little operating team in there that controls all the limbs, the whole body, is waiting for instructions. They're like my team on the ground, right? They're my like military team. And they're just waiting for instructions from the general. And I've been giving them unclear or no instructions.
None at all.
And I walk into the shot with no instructions, no idea where we're going to go, 5 different things to work on, all fear, tentativeness. How the hell do I expect that team that controls my body from the brain to execute? It's impossible. But then I start to get clear direction. What does a good one look like here? Not what am I okay with, right? But what does the good one look like?
Yeah.
You give that clear direction.
Powerful.
You know you have the foundation of your grip, stance, posture, and you have to trust it, make a full turn, and trust that you can do it and rip at it.
And whatever happens, happens.
And whatever happens, happens. And it was funny. I airmailed the green when I was playing the 9 holes, the 39. And I thinned a wedge and it went like 30 yards over the green, right by this tee box of where this other group was. And I said, sorry, guys, sorry about that. Caught a little thin to win, you know what I'm saying? And then I walk up.
The old line.
And this was one of the hardest pitch shots I've ever had. Oh, there's a huge ditch, elevated green, sloping back to front that I have to pitch onto. I'm like, I got a good closed or a good square face. All I need to do is like good rhythm and pitch this, let it run down, put it to 3 feet, par, walk back to the tee. They're walking off the tee. I go, hey, just to let you guys know, that's where I was. Pretty good par, eh?
Literally thin to win. Thin to win.
And so this stuff, I think I'll finish with this, Cerm. I think it's natural to start tentative after really bad results in the past. And that can last for a year. It has for me. But I think what's really exciting for anyone listening is it only took a few holes of learning to swing in the environment on the course that started to give me some mini wins, a little belief, then a little confidence. And that's only going to grow. So we've talked about it before. I'll say it again. Struggle can feel like it can last forever. Confidence can come in an instant. So can belief. And I think that's why getting help from other people is so important, right? It took one guy to say that to me at the range of my left hand. I never thought about my left hand. Obviously, I understood it takes two hands to make a grip, but I thought my left hand was fine. I thought it was more on my right hand. We talked about on the phone, the left hand is actually an easier change to make because it's more locked in.
Yep.
Where the right hand grip can be really, really uncomfortable and take a longer time. So I'm feeling really hopeful. And I think all the experiences we just talked about, right? Of getting clarity, telling yourself you can do it, telling yourself what does a good shot look like here, focusing on the routine that helps you, not the results, and giving yourself grace and to come back and have the awareness to see what caused the good ones, what caused the bad ones, right? Rick was really good at that. Rick was all about understanding what caused stuff and gaining intel. And now strengthening a foundational part that was probably causing most of my issues. At the core, I'm just really excited about playing golf again. And I hope someone that's listening to this can feel inspired and excited to play as well if you've been struggling.
Yeah. No, I think you're dead on, Ev. Guys, learn the fundamentals, learn what they are, learn how to work on them, and never stray away from them. It's amazing, what it can do for your game, and it's just something to always get back to because there's always going to be a quest for the takeaway and the backswing and the downswing, but you got to start the engine the right way, right? And that's with the grip and the stance and the posture and alignment. So Ev, I'm really proud of you, man. And I know it's been tough. And like you said, we're never there in this game. We haven't found the magic bullet, but we're on the right path.
Yeah. For me, at least,
and
understanding how to stabilize the face, I think is the thing I've been trying to understand for 18 years.
Yeah. And
right.
Yeah. And that probably will continue in some way.
Yeah, for sure.
Now you've got something to lean on and you've got something that's is clearing your head. And now I'm thinking I can turn, I've got my thought, I've got my grip. I'm Adam Scott. And now I'm going to go, what's a good shot look like here? That's what I say to myself. And it's a high cut off the trees, right? I'll go do it.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool, Ev,
Yeah.
So more good golf to be played. I'm sure of it.
What a game changer to just be able to swing and not feel like you have to manipulate the face to close down with a driver.
Yeah, you don't want those feelings. I mean, we've all dealt with them, but it's nice. Golf's a game about misses and about good misses. And that's back. That's coming back for you, Ev.
Yeah.
Because it's not about hitting perfect drives. It's about hitting drives in play.
Right. I mean, Brett McCabe told me you can't live and die with the driver. Right. The driver's about getting you in play.
Right. And just being on the golf course, being aggressive, like you're feeling aggressive again.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool, man. This is
what do you think? What do you think this obviously this was very specific to me. What do you think this would inspire a passenger listening to go do? Is it maybe getting a lesson and focusing on the foundations and gaining an understanding and an education on that, getting help to check in on that? Because I'm still blown away that I went to coaches and this wasn't talked about.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good question. I would say, the next lesson you get, hey, I want to spend the first 15 to 20 minutes on the fundamentals. Because look, I think coaches sometimes forget about it. It's not what the student wants to work on. It's not sexy.
Yeah, they default to what the student asks, right? I just want to have you take a look at me and work on one thing, right? But then they might not be looking at your grip,
right? Ask about, hey, how's my grip look? How's the weight of on my feet? Where are they at? Are my shoulders aligned correctly? These are things you learn when you take up the game. We forget about them. But the irony is, right? The best players in the world, this is what they work on the most. So,
Right.
and this is where your breakthrough was in the left hand.
Yeah.
That grip just likes to change, guys. I just told you about my
Yeah.
It just likes to change. So yeah, guys, go next lesson. Tell your coach, hey, first 15 minutes, I want to work on fundamentals.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say too is spend the money on getting a lesson. Don't try and figure it out on your own for a year. Right? Don't make the mistake I made, because you don't know. We don't know what we're doing wrong.
Right.
And if you don't know what's causing something, you can't fix it. And I wouldn't even necessarily look at it as a fix. I look at it as a growth, getting better,
right.
Improving on something, getting a little closer to some more consistent strikes.
And right.
Have something to hang your hat on.
And your grip change takes a little time, guys. Don't give up. Like, it's still going to feel more comfortable for you, Ev. It's getting better, but it just takes time. Grip and regrip when you're at home, sitting watching TV, grip and regrip. So,
and I'm sure there's going to be a round in the near future that I forget about it, and I think I got it, and I don't focus on it, and an old miss comes back, and the sirens go off in my head, but then I just need to come back to my foundation again. That's the point of having the foundation.
Right. Remember, and the old miss too, Ev, might be because of a mental situation, right?
Right.
So, but you know what to think about now. All right. Was I committed? And then after the round, work on your grip.
Yep.
So, boy, you seem like a new guy, Ev. This is really cool that we got to break this down. And, what's nice is you've got some warm weather, out in LA. So
I'm going to St. Louis today.
No, I know, but
no golf planned, but I'm excited to get back on the course.
But you're going to get a chance to at least get some rounds in, in this next month. So
yeah, I'm pumped.
More progress to come, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Totally. Well, I hope this was helpful, guys. Thank you to every passenger listening and hopping on board. If it was helpful, do us a solid and give us a review at Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Hop aboard the YouTube channel. This episode will be on video, as every episode is. I believe every episode is posted on Monday. Podcasts come out on Sunday, and more videos are going to come out. My Brett McCabe video is going to come out very soon. Then my lesson with Rick, and then playing lesson with Rick. All those videos are going to be coming out on YouTube soon. Hop aboard our email list at thepartrain.com. Get a newsletter every Monday, totally free. It's super short. Just something to keep you on track and mental learning every week, as well as first access to merchandise drops. And we got a lot of good stuff coming soon. Very soon. So get on that email list so you get the merchandise drops access first. And Cerm, no matter how wide open that face is, no matter how frustrated and hopeless they might feel, what do they got to do?
Just enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride, guys. Take care.